Umeanza.
Hello,
It's not too bad. Can you hear me, David? But you can't see me. What you saying? Yeah, can you hear me? Good. Okay, go ahead.
you can see the agenda.
Hello, everyone. I can see that a number of you are already on the call. I think there are about 14, 15 of us. Ronald, I see you. Patricia, thank you very much. Michael Odur, we will be starting in a few, so just stay in there. Hello everyone. My name is Ted Muganda. I'm a business development executive at Twiva, and really excited to have yet another conversation on our Twiva Academy series, webinar series, the Level Up series. Today, we are going to delve into a very interesting conversation. We are in the festive season, and festive season is all about the money. So today, we are going to talk about what does this mean for you as a creator, and even for the brands that are in the house. So to help me, have this conversation are two very exciting guests. First and foremost, we have Chebet Makena, who's a digital creator who's worked with powerhouse brands like Safaricom, Nivea, Rascal, and Von. And we also have Wambui, who's a brand content and consumer care manager at L'Oreal. Mercy has over 8 years of experience managing top-tier campaigns across multiple industries. Mercy and Chebet, welcome to our session. Okay, so I think we'll just, Mercy and Chebet, maybe you can say hi to our audience. Seems like we have a bit of a technical challenge. If you give us a minute or two, we'll get that fixed so that we can formally have our guests say hello to everyone.
And come up. Come up.
Off. Hi, Chebet. Can you hear me? Chebet, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Fantastic. So I think you can hear me, you can see me. David, are we good to go?
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hi everyone.
All right. I think we're good to go. Sorry about the delay. So I think we'll just get into the business of the day. So once again, karibuni sana to the Twiva uh, webinar series. And today we are going to tackle a very interesting conversation, a very timely one. We are talking about the festive season, and we all know about the festive season. It's, the gravy train is flowing. It's a season for big money. So to help us dissect and go through this conversation are two very exciting guests. We have Chebet Makena, who's a digital creator. Chebet has worked with powerful brands like Safaricom, Nivea, Rascal, and Vom. We also have Mercy Wambui, who's a brand content and consumer care manager at L'Oreal. She has 8 years of experience managing top tier campaigns across multiple industries. Chebet and Mercy, welcome to this episode. Okay, so I think we'll just proceed. Chebet and Mercy, I hope we're all good. Maybe you can say hi to the audience just so that they hear your voices and know that you're all together. Seem to be able to hear you, Chebet, or even Mercy. This is for the technical mishap. Proceed into the webinar. So just to get us started, Mercy and Chebet, once again, say hi to our audience.
Okay, I'll go first. Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the session.
Hi everyone, this time for real. I'm so excited for this session. And yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so we'll just get into it. Let's kick things off with what's on everyone's mind. We are in the festive season. There's all this rush. Creators are posting, and brands are running campaigns. So when that rush begins, Chebet, how do you personally prepare to stay visible and relevant without burning out or just blending into the noise?
That's a good question. So I think it starts before the festive season. I think for me, creation or just being in the faces of these brands starts like way before it's peak time or anything. So just maintaining the consistency on my platforms, I think also builds up to when it's time for the brands to start looking for which creator they can work with. Like top of their mind. The other thing that I do, especially to avoid burnout, like you said, because this time is when you'll find you're probably working with like more than 3 brands at the same time. So what helps me also is plan the content, because say brand A has specific objectives and their language and messaging is different. Brand B is also totally different, like how they want to bring out their content is very different. So planning out the content helps me especially to also stay still as Chebet, because it can easily be, I can easily be a billboard. Like I'm brand B, I'm brand A, I'm just like, okay, so who am I? So help planning the content also really helps me a lot.
That's solid. Just curious about that response. Do you start planning before you get the briefs, or does the planning begin after you receive the brief?
So for the specific brands, the planning begins after the brief, because the briefs are totally different. The planning that begins before is for my platform, because how I've come to see my platforms grow is people relate to Makena, not Makena, the one who is selling to me, brand A. So the planning of my content generally, I probably do every quarter. But then now for the specific brands, I do when I receive the brief, so that I don't have to go back and forth, because briefs are also very different and tailored to different brands. Yeah.
Fantastic. So flipping this over to the brand side, Mercy, when you're scouting for creators, particularly for this particular season, the festive season, what makes someone like Chebet, for example, stand out to you?
That's a good question. And first of all, I'd like to appreciate Chebet's answer. It's a very good answer, because by the time we're getting a creator to work with us during the festive season, this is a already thought out campaign. So we can't be looking for a Christmas creator in December. So what the things we look out for are, is creator active? What is their persona? Does it relate to our brand as well? And is that also the audience? Maybe sometimes it's not a creator or a creator that you would normally go for, but maybe you're trying to tap into that particular target audience. So that is also something we look out for. So having the creator in mind and seeing what they do, this also really plays a huge role, especially with the agency you're working with, because they also have a view of what's happening in your niche. Sometimes as a brand, you might want to work with a particular person, but maybe at that particular moment they do not fit the brand or the particular campaign goals you want to reach. So again, how is this person's tone? How do they work? What's their audience? And then now we can see how to work with them, because again, we are working with this influencer because they have a group of people who listens to them, and we don't want to come and tell them now, you're no longer going to be the Chebet someone knows. We want you to now speak this brand we're telling you about. So that's the plan. And that's how we go about everything.
Great. It's clear that authenticity and planning are two things that are coming out of, just this preparation for, running campaigns and participating in campaigns for festivity season. So planning is important, but then there's also the authenticity for you as a brand, and even, the creators, and the content that you're putting out there remains consistent with what, the brands you're positioning for are looking for. So in terms of, this season, we are all trying to sell. Everybody is trying to sell. And when it comes to creating content, sometimes creators will, go the direction of creating content that is designed for conversion. For you, Mercy, would you, from your perspective, do you prefer to focus more on storytelling, or do you prefer, content that, converts?
So at the end of the day, our business goal is to make sure we convert. So how do we do that? Storytelling plays a key role into that, because if I feel like I relate to what you're telling me, it's very easy for me to also, as a consumer, to jump on and listen to what you're telling me or give it a try. So sometimes the conversion does not necessarily mean making this person switch from whatever they are using or picking your solution. It just means that they consider you, and most times you just want that consideration, and then they can get into that. So yes, and sometimes there are tasks that are specifically for just conversion and sales, and that's why we have stuff like Black Friday. That is very direct. It's not, there will be a storytelling, like maybe it's a telling you, like, this is how I get ready, this is what I use to get ready, this is what I use for my face, this is what I use for my, but at the goal, the immediate thing I'm telling you is actually go and buy. Sometimes it's more, because it's the same thing, but it's very specific. So again, with the objectives of the campaign, are we trying to sell? Are we trying to also teach you how to use some of our products. So there's that as well. It depends on the particular goal of that campaign. Sometimes it could be awareness, another time it could be conversion, but eventually we hope to convert you while making you aware or when educating you.
I love that. So that sounds like you take a very holistic approach.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to hear you out, Chebet. Have you found that, especially during this season, that even as you take on campaigns, there's this pressure to convert, and hence, the need for you to create content that is skewed towards conversion. Has that been an experience, or what has the experience been?
So when I'm engaging with a brand before we start working together, normally I like to know what their objective is. And like Mercy said, sometimes it's usually the holistic approach. Some brands will understand that I will hear about your product today, but not necessarily buy the product today. I've had experience with other
Chebet,
brands.
you're not very clear. I don't know what's happening on your end.
I can hear her.
You can hear me, Mercy?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you too, Ted.
Chebet, we still can't hear you clearly. I think you're back.
Okay, can you hear me now, Ted?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I was saying for some campaigns, it's like the brand understands that you might hear about their products today, but not necessarily buy the product or purchase the service today. Some brands are specific. They want to make sales. So some of those brands will even give you something like a discount code. And the discount code, as my audience sees it on the back end, as the influencer, what you see is like a dashboard. So you can see how many sales you've made like by the weekend. So I think it's specific to those brands. And genuinely, when the brand is more tied to the sales, of course, there's pressure even for me as an influencer, because I want to do well so that I can work with this brand again, or so that I can prove that I'm actually, a good creator and I can sell. But at the end of the day, I normally try to still maintain who I am as Chebet, because at the end of the day, you don't want to lose the people or the community that you already have just because you're trying to sell for a specific brand. So it's a tough balance, but I highly appreciate brands that understand the consumer journey, from awareness to maybe, consideration, and then finally conversion. Yeah.
Great. So it's definitely clear that there's a consumer journey, and every step of the journey is value. So whether it's awareness, whether it's telling a story about specific milestones, all those are wins, in as much as maybe the end goal is conversion. Maybe to put it another way, it sounds like there's a sweet spot between authentic storytelling and storytelling that drives sales. Okay, so shifting gears, let's talk pricing, negotiation, and value alignment. So everybody who's a creator is priming themselves to take on campaigns this time of the year. So that definitely creates some element of competition. Chebet, have you felt that sometimes you've needed to lower your rate just so that you're picked, or that's not an experience you've had?
I have actually had that experience. I would say when I was starting out as a creator, when I got it was actually the first paid partnership I got. And at the time, it's the gray line between I want to work with this brand, but also if I tell them that's too little, they probably won't pick me. So I've had that experience, but I would say over time, first I've understood why I put the price tag that I put to, the value that I bring, because I understand what that means. I understand the process that it takes me to create the content and the audience that you will tap into when I create the content. So now it's easy for me to be able to negotiate, and if we can't get to a place where the brand can afford, as well as, I feel like my value is being noted, then I'm actually okay with saying no. to a campaign. But it's definitely taken me, like I've definitely had to go through like the journey of first of all learning the hard way of picking a job, and then midway I realized like this is so much work compared to how much I was being paid for that specific gig that I said yes to. So yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like it's about being authentic. It's about appreciating your value, but also it depends on what stage of your creator career you are in. Earlier on, probably you had to make compromises around your rate card, especially at a time when there's a lot of competition. But now that you know your value, you're able to basically just stick to what you believe is the right rate. For you, Mercy, when you look at rate cards and proposals from creators, what do you look for that makes you say, this is fair rate, let's work?
Again, there's a budget that's always allocated to particular campaigns. So are we within the budget? Because maybe someone's budget is way outside the actual campaign budget. So if I have a campaign that's worth 500,000 and you are charging me 500,000, it's probably won't work. But again, outside looking at the budget we have, we go back to the goal, and then what are your deliverables? So some of those things, what's your followers really? We're really moving away from follower numbers because we want that engagement, that community, because we want it to feel as authentic as possible. I might be selling to you today, but I still want you to feel like you're part of my community. So what deliverables are you giving me? What value is this that I'm getting for the rate card you've given? And like she had mentioned, negotiating. We can always negotiate, but up to a certain point. Sometimes you might be charging me for something that maybe clearly we can't afford at that moment. So maybe we'll just have to say, like, maybe this time this won't work. Next time I'll keep in mind for the next one, or when I'm able to get to that cost. Or we can just say, okay, then I was to do this and this and this and this, but now because of that, I'll do 3 things out of this for this cost that you've given me. So it's just always about negotiating, looking back at also what goal are we trying to achieve with this particular campaign, and what value are you giving us for this partnership as well. Because also sometimes you might find, okay, I can decide to pay the amount you want, but then maybe we'll never work again. Because again, there's that. Are we going to have a working relationship, and then we can keep working together for a couple of times? So there are some creators that we decide to work with over a period of time. And now we are seeing like, so that when you look at it from a point of Peter Marangi, it doesn't matter what Peter Marangi does, you just see paints, right? So do I want my brand to be associated with you in the long run? So you'll find that maybe some of these creators that we are working with or partnering with, we've decided, okay, maybe a one-off job might not suffice actually in the grand scheme of things. So what I'll do is let's work long-term. So let's do this campaign for this particular period. This is what you're paying. So do we pay monthly? Do we pay every quarter? Like that. So there's always room for negotiation. It's always about the value and the goals you're trying to achieve as a brand, and also you as a creator. And also overall, it's the customers that we're trying to reach. So we have to have the customers not at the back of our minds. Our customers have to be the people that we're thinking of from the beginning to the end. Yeah.
Wow, that's a real gem there. So sounds to me like, there's a balancing act there. You're balancing budgets, the value, and even, the possibility of a long-term relationship that, would be beneficial to both the brand and of course the creator. Very insightful. Maybe just a reminder to the audience that you can use the chat to, put in your questions. We'll have a few questions answered at the end of this session. So moving on to, the actual execution. At this time of the year, things are moving fast. You're running several campaigns. The creators also are, involved in a myriad of campaigns, multiple campaigns, if you may. And things are moving very fast. For you, Chebet, how do you, you're handling multiple briefs. How do you keep your content fresh and authentic?
I think it ties back to the planning. So understanding, first of all, what the brand wants, and then some brands will give you like a roadmap of how they want the content to look like. Others will give you absolute freedom, creative freedom. So it's just understanding what does brand A versus brand B want, and then planning out the content. And then the other thing that also helps is, putting down the idea. So like if it's I come up with like a rough idea of how I want the content to look like, and then go into specifics. If it's a video, of course, so you come up with a script so that it's detailed to the very end, so that you don't mix them up or try to be, it's like a market of sort, like everything is going on everywhere. So I find that having a plan for each brand specific to them helps a lot.
Yeah, so you've talked about planning, which, is a theme that keeps coming, yet you're in the creative space. Do you have, like, as part of your team, do you have people who help you with the creative work, or, just feed you with ideas, especially at a time like this where, you need lots of ideas?
So right now I work with my husband. He's my teammate. So he's the one who helps me, like we brainstorm together. So we think about who I am, first of all, because also as I'm selling the brand, I don't want to go away from who I am as Chebet. So we think about me and then think about this brand and how it can fit into me, whether it's my lifestyle or, just me as a person. So then we sit together, brainstorm, then I'll come up with the ideas. Then, of course, online is also a good resource. Like there's a way you can just look and get inspiration from creators all over the world, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram, just to get an idea of how people are doing it in other, even in other countries. And then now just sit and kind of center it to who I am as a brand. Yeah.
Wow, that's a power couple right there. Yeah? Teamwork makes the dream work. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So Mercy, from a brand management side, how do you balance speed and quality, especially when you're managing multiple creators at once?
First of all, couple goals. Wow. So that's very good to see. Again, yeah, there's speed, there's quality. At the end of the day, there has to be quality. So as a brand, there gets to levels where it's not the brand manager manually handling the creators directly. So mostly you find we're working with an agency. So like I've mentioned, before we work on Christmas, we won't reach out to you on 20th. You'll have definitely been in talks with our influencer managers or something, and then they can help us with that. But then now from there, things you might end up having to go through some points of approval again, depending on the brand. So once we have budgets approved, once we have campaign already approved, or is already approved, and this is what we're going to do for Christmas, cool, this is a plan. So our budgets are approved, then we can go so that it's all systems go. However, you'll find that you contract a creator, you will agree with them, these are the timelines, even go to a point of setting a date on when they should actually send out their content and ready for review. That is if it's something that needs to be reviewed, it's not on the go content. And someone will totally flake. So I believe that's a point of planning, like she has mentioned, or sometimes someone doesn't have the inspiration and you're not an island. Sometimes you can always just ask as brands, sometimes we have ideas, but then again, we don't want to give you like a direction because it might not be you. So communication is very important, and also just making sure that despite of the of the speed, in spite of the speed, in spite of what you've been asked for, your deliverables, everything, just plan. Because again, relationships really matter. Sometimes life happens. So what will happen when you're deciding to, when you go to chats, okay, like today, I have to be here, and then Kenya Power has done the thing. Do I have to wait until you're trying to reach me so that I can switch locations, or do I plan ahead so that I'm able to, ensure that I'm here on time and we start? So it's a matter of planning and also communicating very clearly expectations on both, not both, but all ends. So yeah, speed is quite important. Actually, if someone can churn out their content quite quickly, get your approvals, and then on the day of posting is when you post, that's fantastic. So I'm glad to hear that you're saying about planning and also saying like getting inspiration. Sometimes just say, hey, I think I'm in a funk. Do we postpone, or can I get some inspiration? Do you have some ideas or some directions you might have? Yeah, that's the way to go.
So
And
talking
also, if
about
your husband can help you, please, by all means.
definitely. Moral of the story: get a creative
Yes, get creative husbands.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right. So you've spoken about creativity, and every campaign starts with a brief. Um, as as a brand manager, sitting on this side of brands, do you which side do you lean more towards in terms of, do you give your creators artistic freedom, or are you a stickler for the brief? How do you find a balance between the two?
At L'Oreal, I can say we really love creators and we love creative freedom. I think L'Oreal is an organization, especially in East Africa, that really, really does so much with creators. And we really don't limit. We probably, of course, have guidelines. I mean, we don't want lawsuits, we don't want online crises. However, we believe in maintaining your authenticity and telling your story as is, because we all experience life, we all experience products differently. And one thing I'm proud to say is that L'Oreal, we are people first. So even from the staff, all the way to our influencer managers, all the way to the creators that we work with, we put them first. If you call us and let us know that maybe something is wrong or you need some assistance, nobody's going to come at you. It's really a good place. I can just say that L'Oreal is amazing. So people first. And yes, we have a brief, that's a guideline. So we'll just give you our guidelines. We'll give you maybe our brand guidelines. You'll find some of the products that we have at L'Oreal, or like especially for the local brands, we are making them in Kenya, we're producing them in Kenya, and we are maintaining the quality of standards throughout the whole of L'Oreal. So maybe there's someone who didn't actually know it's a Kenyan-made product. It's our point to come and educate them about it. So our guidelines, it's basically about brand guidelines and the objectives of the campaign and what we want to achieve, as opposed to telling you, this is what I want you to do. So maybe Chebet does a day in their life, and then I come and tell her, so today I want you to go and start cooking. Not going to be the same. It's not what her audience relates to, and it will be very evident even in her engagement rate. So people first, ensuring that we are very clear on the goal, and then let's go and have a good time while creating content. Yeah, but still remaining true to the brand.
Wow, you make me want to work at L'Oreal. I suppose the culture you have there, and the fact that you're in the beauty space, lends itself to embracing creativity. So fantastic to hear. For you, Chebet, have you ever had an experience where there was that conflict between a very strict brief and it was getting into your creative way of doing things, almost like stifling your creative juices, so to speak?
If I've experienced that, definitely I have. I have experienced that, but I think at the end of the day, it's understanding the brand and understanding what they thrive on, so that even by the time I'm creating content first, it's authentic to my audience, and then the brand is also happy with what the content that I've put out, and the objective has been reached. So yes, for sure, because of course not all brands are free and all of that. Some are a bit more, strict and specific. So yes, I've had that experience, but I like to still maintain a balance between, who I am, so that the audience also doesn't struggle with, what is this content you're finally feeding us? And so that also the objective of the brand is also reached.
Very insightful from the both of you. I can tell that you're both hinting at something, and for me, that something is trust. That the brand will trust the creative to understand the brief and creatively express what the brief is saying, and also the creative to trust the brand that they understand their product, and those particular guidelines that they have created are useful for the creative to create content that will resonate with the audience. Fantastic. So let's talk about longevity. So there's a lot of work that is happening now and will continue happening perhaps until back to school, if your brand is aligned to some of these calendars. But then post this season of so much activity, you as a creator, you want to be retained by the brand, and even the brand is perhaps looking at which creators we've worked with that you want to maintain. For you, Chebet, what are the things you do after a campaign or around this time, to make sure that the brand wants to work with you again and again? Chebet? Chebet, can you hear me? You guys hear Chebet? I can't seem to be able to hear her.
Actually thought it was, yeah, I can't hear her. I think it's frozen. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, so if I can hear you. Maybe as you wait for Chebet to come back, Mercy, from your experience, what convinces you to rebook a creator for another campaign?
Again, it's the storytelling and also the goal we want to achieve. It's sometimes it can be a bit difficult, like you've mentioned back to school. If it's someone who probably, it's of course everybody went to school, so they might not necessarily have a child so that they speak about back to school. However, is it really in sync with the goal we have for this particular campaign? But the reason why we retain also, and I think one thing we're good at, I think Chebet is back.
Yeah, so you can just complete, then Chebet can tell us her perspective.
Yeah, so what we do mainly is to make sure that creators also maintain their authentic self, and then what is the goal of that particular campaign. Then we will work with you again, depending on how well this particular campaign worked. Again, also sometimes we'd like to have that when someone sees, let's say, when someone sees Nice and Lovely, they think, who automatically comes to the top of your mind when you think of Nice and Lovely? Who do you think about? So that's also, it's a good relationship, and it's very easy to even tell you, like, okay, this is what you're doing. It's time for back to school. Guys, go shop, buy your lotions, make sure you stock up on your jelly, make sure you get your baby products and all that. So it's just a matter of how are they as creators, and also what is the goal we have for this particular campaign. But it's always amazing to always have, again, also we can't work with the same creators all through. Sometimes it's good to give someone a break so that they also just get new ideas. You don't get fatigue or the creative fatigue. But it's also always good so that when someone sees you and they see this particular product, it's very clear. And I think I can also use this moment to say, let's not be like hawkers. You can't be here today and then tomorrow you're doing something else almost in the same. You can be selling tea today, then tomorrow you're telling people actually ditch this tea, take this coffee. You'll confuse your audience, and that's why and the reason why brands also love creators is because of influencers. You have your own community that you talk about, you talk with, and you listen to each other and you communicate about something. So there's something they listen to, and they believe your point of view because it comes off as very authentic and it's something they can relate to. So the moment you stop being about your community and you start being maybe about the paycheck or the hype or the FOMO, you lose the people who actually made us want to work with you in the first place. So let's just maintain that authenticity. Let's just be real, and then we'll always work together. And yeah, as long as we meet in the middle, like your community, our goals, and they all align, will definitely be fireworks.
Yeah, so no matter the campaign, the creator needs to remain authentic, and their value really is in their sphere of influence, the people that they speak to. So if they maintain those and they continue speaking to those people in a manner that keeps them interested, then they are positioning themselves, they are putting themselves in the place where they're likely to be retained for the long term.
Yes, and also turning in your work on time.
Oh,
I mean,
of
you can't
course.
be flaky every time and then someone will give you a chance, because again, remember these deliverables also on the brand side.
Yeah.
You're there, you're telling your leaders and you're
Mm.
telling the rest. Maybe like for us, if it's commercial, so for us it's beauty, so it's product based. So if we say Black Friday, we're going to sell this amount, we're going to have a lot of online buzz. Everybody knows what we are doing, what we're talking about. It's going to be very crazy when you say this and then it's on 25th and you've not posted and you are to post on 10th. So even the people who you are to impact are definitely not going to see this in good time to make a decision to also get the conversion. So yes, time on time, making sure we do things on time.
Yeah, so simply put, professionalism, that you turn in the work, show up and turn in the work promptly. Chebet, if you're back, what are you doing to ensure that, and I know you're seasoned, as you keep refining your craft and growing in what you're doing, what are some of the things that you're doing to ensure, or things you could tell, creators out there to do to, position themselves and make themselves the go-to creators for long-term engagement? Not sure she's back, is she? She's muted. Chebet, I think you're muted.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, proceed.
Sorry,
Still
was
can't
that
hear you.
okay? I didn't hear the question. If there was one posed to me, my apologies.
Yeah, I think you're back. Go ahead.
Sorry, was there a
I think
question?
it's the question, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chebet.
Hi, Ted. I think she missed the question.
Okay, looks like the technical issues have persisted. So I think we will. Chebet, are you back?
Yes.
Yes, she's back.
All right. I think we'll switch gears to the last section of this particular session, and we'll talk about the future, looking ahead. So we'll do this, and then we'll jump to the questions from the audience. So Mercy, we know that campaigns are evolving every year. There's more data-driven approach. There's also AI coming into play. There are also certain trends like content that is short form. What are some of the trends you have seen, particularly those that you believe will define campaigns going forward, and particularly campaigns around this time of the year?
So that's a good question. I thought I
Lastly, I
had
don't
run
seem
away.
to be able to hear you either.
I
Can you hear me, Chebet?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, just say that again.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello, hello.
So
Can't hear
hello.
you either.
I think it's
Yeah,
an
there you
issue.
go.
Okay.
So
Lost you
I thought
again.
I thought I had run away from the AI question.
Yes, please.
But AI has a very key role to play. But then I've also just seen how creators have been innovative around AI, how guys were using them as their voiceovers, some edits
See,
that
you're
they're doing
on
with
and off.
AI. And it's been an amazing thing to see. And it's always great to see creators jumping on new innovation and incorporating that, especially with your brand. And that is where the freedom that you give as to a creator as a brand is very instrumental. So I'm super excited for the future. I'm loving how creators are going out of their way to just show their different day in their lives. We've now successfully come out of Get Ready With Me every day. So it's just super exciting. But it's so amazing to see, and we are super excited for the future. Honestly, I know I am. Ensuring that at least a creator remains true to themselves. I mean, TikTok has really made it easier for all creators to also just pop in and just show who they are in their own. Like, I think there was a day I was just in this rabbit hole. I digress, but she was in the shamba, like spend a day with me while I feed the cow, something, and she's just gone and gone. And she was to see her boyfriend, but she did not end up going to see him because she was feeding cows and stuff. But let's not overthink it. Let's make it fun, because not all of us can do a whole production. But it's amazing to just see everybody showing up as their authentic self. And as long as you have a group of people you speak to, that's where we are coming. We are coming to, because we really want true, authentic engagement, true conversations and true conversions eventually, and just having a good time while at it. Sometimes you don't even just have to sell it, could just be for vibes. It's just a feel-good campaign. And yeah, we are happy to do that. Yeah, so that's my thought about the future, the AI. Yes. What about you, Chebet?
I like it, to be honest. I like what AI can do, but I also feel like I need to place myself where AI fits. So I can't be oblivious of what AI is doing, but I also can't do it just because AI is here and I need to be with the trends. So it's just finding where I fit in the AI skill, just so that I'm not, I'm not looking like, okay, are you in this world? And also not doing the most so that it's like, okay, too much AI. So it's just finding a balance. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, I think
Again, it's the sweet
we'll
spot.
wrap
Exactly.
this up. If so, maybe perhaps the both of you can, just give us any parting shots that you have. But before we go to the parting shots, I think we can take a few questions from the audience. Let me just run through this. Okay, so there's one question from Wambui Maina, how to attract these jobs, because I'd be glad to have an opportunity. So basically, creator asking, how do I attract these jobs that we are hearing are flying around left, right, center. I don't know who wants to take that.
Actually, I think it would be good to hear. Okay, I can say, but also it would be good to hear what Mercy, who's representing the brands, would have to say. But for me, I think I've learned, first of all, that I don't know if there's any brand that reads through proposals anymore. There used to be a time, I think, but right now I feel like the page, like your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever platform you're on, that's the proposal that the brand needs to see. So keep creating content, and also don't just create content for the sake of it, for the sake, because we're told consistency will get you out there, but also what are you putting out consistently? So think through what you actually want to focus on. So have a niche maybe, and then now, create content around that. Sometimes even tag the brand that you want to work with. I remember the first campaign I got, actually, that's how I got it. I used to use this product genuinely, like without being paid for it. And then now I started creating content and tagging the brand. So the brand eventually noticed me, and that's how I got to work with them. So yeah, I think that's how I would say. Yeah.
Great. So there's this question specifically to you, Mercy. Someone is asking, how do I attract L'Oreal jobs? It would be a dream to work with you.
Who is this question? So, again, I believe we've seen a bits and piece of L'Oreal. So L'Oreal, you can hear an echo. Okay. So L'Oreal jobs, there are a couple of brands under L'Oreal. There's, of course, L'Oreal Hair, there's L'Oreal Skin and Makeup, there's Maybelline, there's Garnier, there's CeraVe, there's La Roche-Posay, there's Mizani. So there's a lot. Again, I'm going to lean into what there's Nice and Lovely, there's Vassman, there's Gold Touch. I'll lean into what Chebet has said. Let's, for example, you have 20,000 followers on your Instagram. How many DMs do you think roughly you would receive in a day asking to work with you? So how sure am I that I can truly trust you with the brand? What Chebet has said, that your page is your actual proposal, that's it. Because who are the people you talk to? They will be there. Do they comment even to your posts? Maybe sometimes they don't, but you consistently just share this kind of stuff, and maybe we're trying to get into that tech. That's okay. But I believe as long as you know who you talk to, who your audience is, and what you're trying to communicate and sell, then the brand will definitely get to you. Because sending a whole proposal, then what you order versus what you get. That also maybe applies in a brand point of view. So your page is actually your portfolio. Like we'll see sometimes, even as brands, also brands communicate among us themselves. Sometimes you'll be like, one day if I'm able to poach this creator, I will poach them. But you're just, it's because you're seeing how they communicate. This is how they say, this is how they engage with their audience. And also because overall, you also have your whole, outside of creators, there's also the other marketing campaigns and activities you're doing. So all these have to be in sync for you to get to that amazing goal that you have as a business. So keep creating, be yourself, and also just show up. Yes, and the proposal might work, but again, people will have to talk. We'll have to see, like, okay, this is what we want to achieve. Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's not possible? Also, sometimes it's okay to say no. If you see like this campaign or this brand does not fit your demographic, don't just say yes, and then you end up struggling towards the end, or maybe you strain yourself trying to create. Sometimes it's okay to say no, and sometimes you don't even say no because of the money. You maybe just say no because it probably doesn't align with your values, and it probably doesn't align with what you're doing at that particular time. So maybe you're trying to take a digital break or a social media break, and a brand wants to work with you during this time. It's okay to actually say no and say, if we're able to pick up this conversation in April when I'm back, I'd be happy to do that. At the moment, I'm not able to do that. And that's okay. And it's very amazing to see that. So yeah, and for L'Oreal jobs, there's always a post on LinkedIn. It's an official job internally. I think, I don't know if I've answered their question. I've really tried from a creator's perspective. and from the real application perspective. Yeah. And this, I'm seeing another question. Insights, these are amazing insights. Thank you so much, Wambui, and thank you guys for the questions.
Okay, one final one from Michael Odur. This is an interesting one because I know there's always a faith perspective to some of the things we do. So he's asking, it's an interesting but weird one at the same time. Is it okay for Christians to create content or rather to become brand influencers? I'm a staunch believer in Christ Jesus. I would have expected this more from a Muslim because, you know, they have certain guidelines around what is halal and what is not halal. But hey, over to you, you know, Chebet and Mercy. I don't know how you want to tackle that.
Chebet, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I spoke about the Lord and you did not hear me. But what I was saying, what I was saying is that I'm a Christian. I actually do believe in God. So yes, you can be a Christian and create content. I think the only caveat is what brands you work with. For example, do I want to say a brand? No, but a brand that doesn't fit with the values of who you are as a Christian. Of course, like that's a no-brainer. If they come to you and they want you to promote something that you don't believe in, then you just say no and you move on because that's not what you believe in. So as a Christian, of course, you want to preach what you also practice. So it is okay. It is okay for you to be a Christian and be an influencer, but it's also okay for you to say no to a brand that does not, promote the values that you actually do believe in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting question also because I don't think we sit and say, is this a Christian? We're going to work with them. This is not a Christian. You're not going to work with them. If anything, I think in such situations, again, we say at L'Oreal, we're people first. So who are you as a person first? I believe the rest are details. As long as whatever we are telling you, this is beauty. Is it aligning with your values? Like I've mentioned, it's okay to say something doesn't align with your values, and it's okay, you won't do it, and respectfully decline. Yeah, if anything, we really want to speak to each and everyone. At the end of the day, from our space, we want you to have nice, radiant skin in the Lord. So we want you to show up in your best true self. So yeah, don't feel shy. Don't feel like that's something that's going to limit you. Sometimes I feel like as creators, you might actually be your biggest person who's holding you back because you think some things are limiting you. Because until you've mentioned that today, I had never thought about it that way. Yeah, so we just want, like the way we've said, this is the content you put out. Maybe you do your sermons on, what's it called, like you're on your TikTok and you're just doing your video and you're like, hey guys, today we are reading the book of Matthew, and your face is your currency. This is what you talk to the people about, and we want to talk about skincare. So your face is going to be seen. So you're going to tell people, hey, this is when my face is flawless, or this I've been struggling with acne. I'm seeing very different ways to do it. That shouldn't be something to stop you. Be your authentic true self. The community you have is going to respect you at that particular point, and whatever you recommend to them, if it's an opportunity or it's a product or it's a service, they're going to listen to you because that's who they relate with. Yeah, you're just the person that's speaking to them from the brand point of view at that particular moment.
Fantastic. There you go, Michael. So bring your authentic self into your content creation. Bring your authentic Christian self. It's good and it's okay to be whoever you are, whatever your faith, just be authentic. Okay, so let's wrap this up with final remarks. In one line for you, Chebet, and then Mercy, what are your final remarks?
Okay, so for me first, as a creator, be authentic to who you are as a person. At the end of the day, what you're trying to do is to connect with the audience that actually, follows you. So it's like a community. Think of them as the actual people who are following you and they're buying into who you are. So make an effort to connect with them as opposed to, selling and putting brands, in their faces. So remain authentic to yourself and connect with the people the community that you have built.
So, from a brand point of view, be yourself. Um, you want us to reach out to you because of this community that you have, and we want to reach out to that community. So this is a beauty space, so we have our lotions, we have our sunscreens, we have our makeup. You definitely have someone within your community that uses these products. So that's the person we want to talk to. We want to talk to you, to talk to them how they relate to you, other than us, because already we will probably be on the radio, we are on the TV, we are in a certain billboard somewhere, but we want you to be the person they relate to and be like, okay, can this product work for me? And is it something that I can trust? And you're the voice that they trust. So we want to use this trusted voice to talk to them and connect with them outside of just selling to them. We want to connect to them so that we also just keep building products and giving them something that works for them and that they appreciate. So be yourself, be your true self, and keep on doing what you're doing. Someone will see us. And don't limit yourself, please.
Very, very well said. Very well said. So that brings us to the end of today's Twiva Academy webinar session. We've covered a lot. Today's session was about how to position yourself to get some of the money being spent on campaigns this festive season. We've covered, pricing. We've covered visibility, being visible. We've covered planning. We've covered how you can, position yourself for repeat work. And we've also looked at some of the trends around, influencer marketing and how campaigns are managed. So to Chebet, Makena, and Wambui, a huge thank you for sharing such sharp and actionable insight. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. If you found this valuable, make sure to follow Twiva on our social media and stay tuned for the next Twiva Academy session. Until next time, go out there, pitch smart, create boldly, and make this festive season your most profitable one yet. Thank you very much and have a lovely evening.